Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tom and I'm the founder of Vertical Motion, where we help mid-career professionals become executives. If that's interesting to you, then go ahead and check out the link down below in the description. It'll help you set up a call with me where we can talk about how you can move to the next level in your career. If you're stuck at the senior manager or director level and don't quite know how to get to vice president, it's because there's a lot of hidden steps in between that you're not aware of. And my program teaches those things. So if you want to learn more, book a call down below and we'll talk about it. Today is an amazing day for me. I am in sunny Akumal, Mexico, which is just south of Playa del Carmen, just north of Tulum. Absolutely gorgeous here. And I'm here with a very good friend of mine, Mr. Jeremy Pogue. Jeremy runs a company called Summit Acquisition, which helps business professionals build their online marketing capabilities and a bunch of other things. I'm gonna let Jeremy explain what he does to you. But this is my first of a series of interviews of CEOs of companies who have learned some of the skills that they needed on the fly to become highly effective leaders. Jeremy is an amazing leader. He's become a very good friend of mine. He's taught me a lot, and I'm just excited to have you join me on the channel here. So welcome, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me, Tom. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. And as Tom said, my name is Jeremy Pogue, founder of Summit Acquisition. I help people that have online service-based businesses, online coaches. I help them build kind of marketing and sales systems. So run ads to get more customers to be able to make a bigger impact and grow their companies. So yeah, over the last 10 months since I started this company, we've grown to an annual run rate of about $2 to $3 million at this point. And it's been a very, very fast growth trajectory. We've grown very quickly, and it's taught me a lot about myself as a leader, and it's kind of forced me to step into that role as well as a leader. And I've learned so much from Tom as well. And just as our relationship has developed, like, your wealth of knowledge just continues to blow me away. So I just want to say thank you for that, and really appreciate that, Tom. You're helping me become a much better leader, how I lead myself, my team, my clients, and my audience as well. And yeah, can't thank you enough for that.
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, I think there's a lot of mutual respect here for sure. That's for certain. Let's start off by just telling me a little bit about your background. Tell the audience, like, you know, who you are, where you came from, where do you live, you know, and how you got into building this business, Summit Acquisition.
After school, I went to university, got a finance degree, and my dream was always to be an investment banker. I wanted to work in a really tall building, work long days, and make a lot of money. That was the dream. And I got through university, and I kind of realized, I started to realize what was possible. Started to read a lot of books as well, and I realized with the impact that I want to make and everything like that, I wanted to be able to do that in a way where I could also grow a lot myself as a man and as a leader, as an entrepreneur. And that was one thing led to another, and I kind of shifted away from that towards, I want to build my own company to be able to really just be able to do just that. And I've noticed that really stepping into that role as a leader has forced me to grow and develop in ways I couldn't have even imagined. So after I got my degree, that was kind of around the time when COVID hit. I graduated in 2019, and then I was back in my parents' basement. And that's kind of where it all began. But I started reading a lot of books about leadership and business and stuff like that for a few years before, learning lots of skills, and then I tried a few different things, just building that foundation. And there's a lot that I didn't even know that I didn't know. And I think there's kind of two things that always keep us stuck, and it's our blind spots and our ego. And a lot of the time, our ego keeps our blind spots blind, because I'm very driven and ambitious and audacious, and I think a lot of the times I've had the tendency to kind of be a little stubborn too, and kind of think, oh no, I can figure this out on my own. I know it all. I know I'll be able to do that. But really, what I've learned is that really the only cheat code in life is to be able to find somebody who's done what you want to do and get them to help you get there a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And whether that's a mentor or a coach, or even just reading books or watching YouTube videos, or going through somebody's course, I can't tell you how much I've really sped up my growth curve by doing that, because I can just I can take all the advice and experience that somebody spent their entire life accumulating and learn from all their mistakes, so I don't have to make them myself. I still make a lot, but
Don't we all?
to the same degree, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very necessary. But anyways, hired a business coach to tell me how to actually run a business because it was something I hadn't done before. And then from there, I was able to see some degree of success and then started actually working for this mentor who I really looked up to as well. And I just want to get as close to him as possible because he had walked that journey before.
Right.
For a much longer time than I had, and he was doing very well too. So I really wanted to just kind of soak in as much information as possible and develop my skills, my foundation. And I kind of felt stuck, kind of felt plateaued with my business, wasn't really loving it anymore, so I just went all in with him. And then from there, just about 10 months ago, went back out on my own and started this company to be able to kind of just step into that true role of a leader and a leader in all aspects of life. And it's been an incredible journey so far.
That's awesome. It's a really interesting story. It takes me to a question that I actually hadn't planned to ask, but tell me a little bit about so one of the things that I do on this channel is I help people understand the value of coaching. And so you just kind of talked a lot about that, but can you kind of just spend a little bit more time about how you make a decision to invest in a coach? What is the process that you go through? What are you looking for in a coach? What do you need them to deliver to you in order for you to be willing to part ways with sometimes tens of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, great question. And it comes at a very good time because I just hired 2 new mentors, 2 new coaches last week. And I was just over, I think, 25 grand. And they're very high level people. So one of them was head of client success for a company that does about 40 million a year. And he was in charge of 25,000 clients. And I'm trying to build a company to get to that point too. So there's a lot there's so much knowledge that he knows that he can help me. And the other one has built and scaled and sold multiple 8-figure companies. Wow. And has one of the largest coaching programs in the world for tech company founders. And although I don't really have a tech company, he still does the business coaching too. Both kind of a little bit different from each other, but both much further ahead than I am. And I feel honestly so grateful and blessed to have the opportunity to use money as the tool that it is to help buy back my time and hit my goals a lot sooner. So my thought process when investing into a coach it's very simple. It's very, very binary. It's just, has this person done what I want to do themselves? Yes or no? If yes, cool. Can this person help me get closer to my goals a lot sooner? Yes or no? And do I have the capacity to pay what they're worth to be able to do that? Yes or no? And if those 3 boxes are checked, then it's a no-brainer for me. And I do it. And every single time I've invested into a new program, into a new coach, it's helped me just that triggers exponential growth in my career, in my development as well. Every single time without fail. With one of them, for example, the night I signed up, I signed up with him during the day, and then that night I was going through a couple, the first 2 videos in his course. And in video number 2, I had an epiphany moment where I was I know exactly where I'm stuck now. And it was a complete blind spot. I wasn't even aware that I had that problem. I was just okay, he's done what I want to do, so he clearly knows things that I don't know. If I knew them, then I would already be where I want to be by now.
Right.
But because I don't have those skill sets, that experience, or expertise, then that's why I'm currently stuck at this level. And I kind of felt like I was plateaued a little bit. And so the way I feel is that everything from here on out is just a bonus because I got that one little golden nugget and I know exactly what I need to do. To kind of sum it up really nicely, I think a big part of what a coach does for you is give you that clarity on your blind spots, because it's a blind spot for a reason. And if we're not aware of what we don't know, if we don't know what we don't know, then how can we fix it? I believe in the law of cause and effect. So everything that I do has an effect, and everything that's going to happen to me has a cause, something else that led to that. So I think that if I'm stuck, there's a reason for that. And a lot of times the reasons it's either going to be our ego or our blind spots. And most of the time, it's our blind spots. Like as much as it is investing in somebody's program or investing into a coach or a mentor who's done what you want to do so you can get to your goals sooner, that's kind of like, that's only half the equation. That's one side of the coin that I see. I think the other side is more so the internal commitment that I make to myself, that I actually do want the things that I claim I want so bad.
Right.
And I'm willing to put all my money on the table and all my chips on the table and go all in and bet on myself, that I am actually capable of doing it. We only have two currencies we can trade to achieve our goals. We can either spend time or spend money.
Right.
And we can only get one of those back.
That's right. I just released a video 2 days ago talking about you think you have time. Time is the one resource that's not renewable. And I think that's how I think about coaching. I could have figured out how to do all of this on my own over time, but I didn't want to. I wanted to skip ahead in the book towards the end of the book and get to the part that actually matters. And I think that, like, I'm in your coaching program. One of the biggest takeaways for me in your program is how ruthless you are about getting rid of information that's not important. You don't overwhelm clients with every single piece of information out there on the planet. You tell us exactly, this is important, that is not important. And that's what I try to do in my program, is I teach people the things that they don't know, but I only explain the things that really move the needle, right? Mm-hmm. And so executive presence is something that I teach, executive style, and also how to find the jobs in the marketplace. 70% of executive roles are never found online. They're either created or they're through some kind of whisper network, tapping people on the shoulder that you know, looking for people that you trust. I just find coaching to be a tool that you can pay money for, and what you get back is an accelerated timeline for what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to go from director to vice president, hiring an executive career coach to help you do that makes sense, because you'll make the money back, right? If my program is $7,500, for example, if somebody pays $7,500 and they join the program, most often the signing bonus more than covers the cost of the program. But then beyond that, think about if the job is a $100,000 increase in pay, well, in 7 months you will have made that back. But what if it takes you 7 months to get to where you would be had you not gone through the executive career accelerator? And I think people forget that, like, we only have so many earning years anyway, right? So like waiting too long and not being willing to invest in your own success just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think that's something I've learned from you. Everyone in your community has joined your community. It's not a cheap community to be in, but it is definitely worth the cost to be surrounded by people and learning the skills that successful people have.
Yeah, that's really good. And kind of piggybacking on top of that as well, before we move on really quick, one of the quotes that really stood out to me, Alex Mosey said it. He said, kind of regarding to opportunity cost. Every year that goes by that you don't know how to make $1 million a year, it's costing you $1 million a year to not have that information. And that hit me like a truck, because there are people out there that know how to do that. Like I said before, we only have time and money. Those are the only two currencies, but we can only get one of those back. And I think if you change your relationship towards money as just a tool to buy back your time or to have certain experiences and stuff like that, then that just makes the journey the journey to where you want to go a lot quicker. Yeah. Shortens that cycle.
Another thing that we do in my program is we help people kind of figure out what they actually want to do with their lives. So becoming, going from manager to vice president, that's great. But what if you're doing it in a role that you hate? What if you really hate what you do for a living? I find it's not as important how hard you row. It's more important that you're in the right boat, right? And so talk to me a little bit about, like, your life purpose. Is this business attached to your life purpose? Have you found that, or is that something that you're thinking about now?
Absolutely. And the reason I say that is because it serves multiple purposes. It's extremely fulfilling, extremely rewarding internally to be able to make the impact that I'm able to make. Because basically, like, at the end of the day, I kind of just sell money, because I help online coaches scale their companies and make a lot more money. Right. But at the end of the day, it's what that money can do for them. and then also the impact that they're able to make and the butterfly effect. So for example, like one of the guys downstairs right now is a dating coach. He helps well-established men find a fulfilling long-term relationship. And those kind of guys, they have every piece of the puzzle except for that one last thing, which makes them feel empty inside. And it makes them, like a lot of them have been trying really hard to fill in that piece, and they haven't been able to, so that takes a massive hit on their confidence. So what he does is helps them build their own confidence in themselves, raises the value of their own product to be able to attract what they truly deserve and fill in that last missing piece. And a lot of the clients that they're able to work with, they wouldn't have ever met them if it weren't for some of the ads and stuff like that I've been able to help them do to be able to attract those people. So it's really fulfilling for me to see that. It's like because of me, not only is my client changing their entire life and like the trajectory of their bloodline forever, but also every single one of their clients is doing the exact same. And so it's not as much about me anymore at all. Yes, it scratches my itches, but I live a pretty simple lifestyle aside from doing stuff like this.
Simple, right?
Yeah, something like that. But no, nonetheless, it's extremely fulfilling in that sense. It's extremely rewarding financially as well, but also like the freedom that it allows me to have in terms of my lifestyle allows me to have a very good relationship with like my health and fitness as well, which is really important to me. It just kind of scratches all those itches. So I feel like it's like, and I know what I'm building now probably isn't what I'm going to be doing 10 years from now. It's probably going to be looking a lot different, but I do know it's a stepping stone towards that next thing, and it's absolutely necessary because I'm building those skill sets and foundations and making connections and learning from other people and everything like that.
What does leadership mean to you? What makes a great leader in your mind?
For me personally, like when I first kind of got into the path that I'm on right now, I was in it for fairly selfish reasons. It was kind of escaping pain of being broke, of not having independence and kind of like financial freedom and stuff like that. And once I got to a certain point, my intentions and my motivations shifted. And I went from kind of like my intentions at the start were kind of how can I build a business that fuels my lifestyle where I can make a lot of money and stuff like that. And then it shifted towards, okay, like how can I build something that's greater than myself that truly makes a big impact and is the best in the world at like in its entire thing. So I think for me, leadership is really making that transition from being very like selfish to more selfless. And it's all about the intention behind that. So right now it's like I'm responsible, like when I hired my first team member, now I'm responsible not only for him, but also his family, his partner, his future kids, future family, stuff like that too. I don't have the opportunity or the luxury of taking my foot off the gas anymore.
Right.
Because I'm not just providing for me. And same thing goes with my clients. I don't have the luxury of taking my foot off the gas there. I have to continue to innovate and provide a much better experience for them. And then also like my audience, my future clients, I have to, and I want to. I say I have to, but like it's more so like I want to just
Right.
to kind of scratch that itch. And I want to lead them in a way where I can help them change their lives too, because I know there's a lot of people that have those blind spots and their ego stops them from doing what they know they need to do to get to the next level. I know because I have the conviction in my company's program where I can truly change somebody's life if they just kind of let me and they decide to make that change themselves.
Right.
But that's something that they have to do. So in my content, I try to help them make the right decisions and really take true ownership of their entire life, because if they don't, nobody else is going to. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Like you have to change to change. So if you're tired of being stuck and plateauing at a certain level, you clearly don't have what it takes to get to the next one, otherwise you'd already be there. I think a big part of it, like leadership to me, is helping those people make the right decision and make that commitment to themselves internally that they actually are capable of doing it and they deserve it.
So it seems like leadership is kind of a sacred responsibility to you because you feel ownership of the impact that you have, the promise that you've made to your employees, but also your customers, your clients, and then beyond that. It's important that you're comfortable in communicating, like not only what to do, but how to do things, right? Mm-hmm. Like how we do things matters, not just what we do. And I think that comes through in a lot of the content that you put out, you know, and the message that you put out there in your world. Would you want your legacy to be? And when I ask this question, I'm really asking, like, God forbid something happens, or we flash forward 50 years from now, like, how do you want the world to remember Jeremy Pogue?
I think it really comes back to like intention and responsibility, because one thing that I try to be very conscious of and aware of when kind of doing things is I want to be very authentic, and I try to be as authentic and genuine as possible, but also, and I know you teach this framework too, it's like authenticity, empathy, and audacity are the three components of a very, very valuable leader. And so I try to be as authentic as I can with everything that I do. And in that, I think that just naturally, like I feel obligated that I have, in order to be authentic, I have to have the best product that I could possibly create, the best team that I could possibly create, and the best client experience that I could possibly create as well. And I think that word of mouth and reputation, to me, honestly, is everything. And it's not about the money. It's more so just about fulfilling my potential and what I know I'm capable of too. And I know that like there's so much that I don't know as well, because like I'm young, I'm 25, and I'm well aware of that. But at the same time, I also have so many blind spots that I'm completely blind to and unaware of, which is why I continue hiring mentors and coaches to help me identify those. And you've helped me identify so many of those as well. So I'll be forever grateful for you for that. But in terms of legacy, like right now, I don't have a wife and kids, but I really want that. And a lot of the things I do today is kind of future pacing that.
Right.
And I want to be a very strong provider for my future family. I want to take care of my parents. It was their 35th anniversary a few weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
And they've always been talking about going to Italy, and they never had. And then there were some things that came up, like, maybe we'll go next year. So what I did is I just booked their flights and sent them off and said, I'll look after the dog for 3 weeks. You guys go have fun. And to be able to do things like that, it's incredible, but that would never be possible if I didn't bet on myself and if I didn't make all these commitments to myself that I am worthy of everything that I want. And so I think in terms of legacy, it's just someone I want to be remembered as somebody who gave it all they had and came and approached things with the right intentions.
Yeah, I love intention. You said that in the very beginning of your answer, and I love that. I find myself sometimes disillusioned in people that are inauthentic, and that's why I think authenticity is so important. Like you see something on the internet and it's like, that's this really special moment, and you find out later it was staged for the likes. And it's like, why would you do that? Like, you know, I am so attracted to people who are authentic and truly who they are. They put themselves out there as they are, and I think you're somebody that's like that. You're very transparent. You share a lot of your life online. I don't think you hold very much back from people. And everything I see that you do it with amazing intention. You know, you recently gave tens of thousands of dollars to charity, and then after that, didn't feel like you had done enough and decided, well, you know what, I'm gonna go build some homes in El Salvador next week. And like paid your way into the program to buy houses for El Salvadorians. And like, and you don't put that out there as like marketing material. It's just truly who you are. You don't care about the extraneous rewards for that. You care about that, like you've had an impact, right? So we're here in Akumal having this really great retreat, learning an incredible amount. Like I have tens of pages of notes from everything that we've talked about.
Me too.
Incredible conversations, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a kind of like, it's a way to spend money, but then there's other ways to spend money. You spend money equally on, times of enjoyment and ways to give back to the community as well. And so I can see that your legacy, if you keep living your life this way, will be one of very high intention.
Appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. Tell me, and I'm being chased by the sun. That's why I'm moving around the screen.
Me too. The black shirt's not helping.
Yeah. We'll wrap it up now. What's the one piece of advice you would give to aspiring leaders?
Never stop improving. Never stop investing in yourself. Every time I feel like I've been stuck and plateaued, not even feel like I have been, is objective. Have I been making the same amount of money for the last X amount of time? Then that's a clear indicator that I'm plateaued, right? Money is obviously it's a little superficial, but it's a very objective counter. It's a very objective unit of measurement. And especially as you climb up in different roles as well, then obviously that comes with different levels of compensation. So I think that big thing is just, yes, it's investing in yourself, but it's also when you do that, like I mentioned before, it's more so about just making that commitment to yourself that you are actually worthy of achieving the things you say and claim that you want to achieve so badly.
Right.
And I think that when you part ways with a lot of money, it has that effect, because I find, to be completely honest, the more I pay, the more I pay attention. So the more it stings, the more uncomfortable it is, the better it is in terms of my long-term growth and development, because as I said before, it's like money is just a tool. And if I can use the money that I make as a tool to help me grow and develop as a leader a lot quicker and a lot better and more effectively and efficiently, then that's the best use of that tool imaginable. Because the way I see it as well is that our external circumstances, our income, our health, everything is simply just a reflection of our internal state.
Right.
So if I'm not making the kind of money that I want to be making, if my business isn't where it wants to be or where I want it to be, then that means me as a leader,
right,
I haven't gotten to that level yet. And one thing I really learned from you as well, just over the last few days talking here, was the law of the lid. Basically, your company or income can only grow to the level of the leader. And if you're not continually developing and growing as a leader, then your organization isn't either. And I think that principle of like the mirror effect, the mirror principle, is extremely important, because if you want to grow your income, grow the organization that you're working with, then you have to first do that internal work and grow yourself. And I think the first step in that is making that internal commitment that you can in fact do it, that you are worthy of achieving things that you set out and that you claim you want. But you have to first make that commitment, take that leap of faith, and especially do it when it's extremely uncomfortable and when it hurts. Because that's, like, they're growing pains for a reason. In order to grow, you have to experience some pain.
Exactly. I love that. Always be growing, always be learning. And whenever you can leverage someone else's experience or mistakes instead of making them your own, take that chance. Whenever you can trade money for time, make that trade, because time is not renewable, money is.
Yeah.
And if you learn how to make more money, then you'll make back the money you invested to make more money, and now you have more money left over in the end to do more things, hopefully to learn more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeremy, thank you, man. I am super excited to have this conversation in person here in Acamal, Mexico, with the sun chasing me down. This was special for me because this is the first time I've had someone on my channel. You're the only other face that they've seen. And so I'm excited to be able to share, somebody who's done well for yourself in terms of, an executive career. You're running your own company now. But more importantly, you understand and can articulate even better than I can the value of a coach, the value of coaching. And I think that's one thing in my industry. People are very quick to spend tens of thousands of dollars on formal education. Let's go get a $200,000 MBA from Harvard, put that on our resume, and that makes us look good. The MBAs don't teach you what you actually need to know in order to how to become an executive. You learn that for a tenth or a 20th of the price, and you get 10 times the return. And I find that informal coaching throughout my life now, like I have hired multiple coaches in the last year to help me accelerate building my business, building my brand learning how to do things like this, record YouTube videos.
Yeah.
All of those things are skills that I could have learned the hard way or the long way. Accelerating that learning has only just helped me get to the good part sooner. And so thank you for all the things that you've taught me. And thank you for helping me actually become the coach that I've always wanted to be.
It's been an honor. And one last thing I'll say, and this is something that I really admire about you as well, since the day we met, is your humility. And I think that great leaders have to be extremely humble. That kind of goes back to like the ego and the blind spot dilemma as well, because if you have an ego, that means you're probably not very humble. And the more humble you are, the more open to advice you will be, which means the faster you're gonna get to where you want to be. And absolutely, like, I remember I was on a sales call about 1.5 years ago with somebody who was more than twice my age. And they asked me, I'll never forget this too, they were very skeptical because they're like, okay, you're half my age. What do you know that I don't? This is when I was working for that other company. There were 4 of us, all under 25, and we just did $100,000 that week. And I said that to her. I said, well, like with all due respect, I'm like, I know there's a lot that I can learn from you, but if you're not willing to be humble and like humble enough to understand where your blind spots are, then like there's a reason you're on this call with us right now, because we're under 25. And there's only 4 of us, and we just did 100K this week. But then, like, and we could help you. We could help you grow your business so much more as long as you're willing to kind of take that step and do that internal work first. But she wasn't, and I'd be willing to bet right now she's probably still stuck at the exact same spot.
It's frustrating to me when I hear people say like, well, what can a young person teach me? Well, like, they probably have a skill you don't. Like, yes, you might be 50 years old and have tons of skills, but like, I know how to use a fax machine.
I don't.
How useful is that to me today, right? I know how to like use a rotary phone or like call collect. Like, I know how to do things that are obsolete, and I think a lot of people confuse volume of information and experience with the relevance of information and experience. Coaches give you pinpoint information at the moment that you need it, and that's what I've learned from you. That's what your program has taught me. And that's what I do with my team, is I try to give my clients the right information at the right time to help them take the right step. I just had a client while we were here in Mexico. He got an offer for a company that he was very excited to get an offer from. They came in with an offer that was bigger than he was asking for, and it has a path from VP to senior vice president. And an equity package in a publicly traded company. And so he's super excited about this. He joined the program 3 weeks ago, and he said, I've been laid off. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I suck at these interviews. And he said, I want you to teach me everything, but right now I want you to teach me what I'm doing wrong in my interviews. So we sat down, I went through a mock interview. I'm like, oh, here, this. He went to his next interview, and he said, this was a company he didn't even expect to get a call from. He got a second interview with them, and he chose not to go forward with them because he had his eyes on a better situation that he wound up in. That's the power of coaching, learning exactly what you need to know at the moment you need to know it.
Absolutely. Very, very well said. And I think another big component of coaching too is like a really good coach will help you see the things in yourself, help you see your full potential too. I have very high standards for myself. And with that, kind of, if I'm not where I want to be, sometimes I kind of beat myself down a little bit. But a really good coach, they help you give yourself that confidence in yourself and that conviction in order to actually feel like you deserve that next level as well, and you deserve to level up. Because once you're truly ready to receive that, what you want, that's when you will.
Right.
But until you're not, then you won't.
Jeremy, I want to thank you so much for all of this time and for this retreat, but especially for this time here to introduce you to my community. Where can my community find you online?
I have a YouTube channel, Jeremy Pogue. My last name is basically Rogue or Vogue, but with a P. Or you can find me on Instagram at Jeremy_Pogue as well. So Instagram, YouTube, best place to find me. And Tom, I just want to say thanks so much, man. I've learned so much from you as well, and just Yeah, I appreciate you just being so transparent, authentic, and just sharing your wealth of knowledge with others in such a selfless way. It means a lot to me as well, and I think the world needs more people like you.
Amen.
Appreciate it.
And I, nothing but mutual respect, brother. I'm just like super impressed with everything you've been able to build and how many lives you've touched and just the intention that you've approached everything with. It's just been really tremendous. It's been very respectable. I'm really impressed with. I was not this well put together at 25, so I'll just leave it at that. With that, thanks guys. It's been a really great conversation here. Again, you can find Jeremy. You can see the ats below. I'm sure Hector will put them in for us. With that, I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.